So, I have a situation that I shared with you guys on Instagram. Oh, I'm so scared. Okay, so maybe it's not that bad. So I have this basket of eggs. I know some of them are a few months old in there. And there is a smell that's not so good because I'm one of those people who have the bad habit of just taking off the top. And I have a sink full of water here, and I'm going to just do the float test. Oh God, and hope none of these explode on me. But I do, somebody asked or suggested giving them away. We give a lot of eggs away. My daughter-in-law runs a little cottage bakery from her house, so she gets a couple dozen a week usually. And I always just take from the top and fill cartons. Oh, I need to figure out a routine where now that it's just Todd and I, we're just not going through eggs like we used to. You know, when the kids were home, they would eat eggs like daily, and we just don't. So I'm fearful. One of the biggest fears I have, so I'm like staying away, is an egg exploding, a rotten egg exploding. That can happen. They do that. And when I just moved the basket, there was maybe some sticky stuff at the bottom. So I'm hoping whatever it was is at the bottom. I have a floater. I'll show you how to identify if an egg is bad instead of throwing them all out. So let me finish loading these up and we will see in the water, and I'll show you the bad ones. Okay, I don't know how well depth of perception shows up on camera, but these, hey, hush, these are definitely floaters. I'm bouncing them in the water. So those are 100% past their prime. And I think I did find a couple of the stinky ones because they were like, boom, like sitting way up out of the water, and that means that they've got a lot of gas going on. So I'm going to take all of these, and they're actually just going to get fed to the chickens out in the compost. And then the rest of them, some of them are at different stages of life, so I will show you. I think somebody asked on my Instagram post, well, how do you know if they're good or they're not good? So basically anything that's still sitting on the bottom is good. Now some of them will lay flat like this one, and that's very good. And some of them will stand up, you know, start tilting versus standing up on their end. So let me see if I can find different stages. So this one's good. He's just barely lifted up. Let's see. I think the rest are kind of all just kind of standing on their end. Yeah, kind of just standing. I just don't want any that are floating up at all. So let me grit the rest of these. And because I still have plenty that are like fresh good, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just touching them to make sure that they're actually sitting on the ground. I'm going to just scramble these up, and we're going to freeze dry them so I don't lose the opportunity to consume these. And I know somebody might be asking, well, why do you keep them if they're dirty? But I don't wash my eggs. You know, of course, you want to try to get them before they have like poopy stuff on them. But sometimes, you know, chickens are just messy. Not always, but sometimes they are. So I'm just going to fool around with them and just like, did you see that one just started floating? So I'm just going to make sure none of the others are wanting to float on me as I kind of lightly clean them. Okay, I think we're good with these. That one's floating. Okay, I'm not sure if that's going to show up on camera or not. But let me move this. From above, it looks like it's touching the ground, but I can tell it's not because I can push it down. So I'm going to take him out. We're going to switch things up completely. So I had, you know, all my eggs in my bowl. And as I was cracking them into the little cup to make sure that they were still good before I put them in my bowl with all my eggs. Todd came in, I got distracted, and I cracked one directly into the bowl. Needless to say, all 30 eggs. There was 30 eggs in this bowl. Ruined. Absolutely ruined. So, if I could just share that smell. If you've never smelled rotten eggs in your life, that is something to so be grateful for. One of those blessings that you don't know that you already have. And so I walked away from the kitchen for a bit. I think my nostrils are healed. And we are just going to make a tomato pie. I need something to cheer myself up from that experience. Okay, so for the tomato pie, I made a quiche earlier this week, and I have an extra pie crust. So I'm going to bring that out, let it set out at room temperature for about 30 minutes so I can roll it out. We are going to pre-bake that pie crust halfway, about 8 minutes at 450. And then when I come back to throw it to get the ingredients together, I will share that with you. So I just have some very, very ripe, like soft ripe tomatoes that we are going to chop. And then I'm going to set them in the sink while the oven's preheating, and this crust is softening on the counter, and we are going to let them drain for a while. You kind of want to get as much juice out of your tomatoes as you can, and seeds. I've never made a tomato pie before, have you guys? And I saw somebody made one the other day and it looks so good. I was like, I want to try that. It's a great way to use up some of these last few tomatoes trickling in. I know I told you guys I pulled my tomato plants, and I did, you know, the main crop, but I still have some random ones in the garden that I was just letting finish out the season until the frost actually kills them, and then I can still be getting some tomatoes in. Not necessarily for preserving, but just for eating fresh. All right, all my tomatoes are chopped. I have this bowl, so we're going to strain those, and I'll be back and we'll roll out the crust together, get that going, and we're just choosing to make lemonade from the lemon eggs we got. So let me walk this over carefully. All right. I'm trying to just work those and get that initial juice out, and then I'll just let them gravity. Do their thing by letting them just sit here and drain a bit while I get that crust ready and tell you what else we're putting in this pie today. Very, very cold inside. I don't like working with ice cold pie crust just because it's so much harder to roll out. But then at the same time, you don't want it warm. And this is my favorite pie crust. It's a really, really buttery pie crust. And I know that's not everyone's favorite, but it's certainly mine. It's so good for quiches. Now, I know a lot of tomato pies call for more of a focaccia type crust, but we're just going to use what we have on hand. And here's an idea for you, something I've been thinking about getting ready for the holidays, is I'm going to start making up a few pie crusts every weekend and then rolling them out and storing them as you would get like store-bought pie crust, you know, pre-rolled out. and storing them in the freezer. And then that way, when it comes time for the holidays, you don't have to think about making a pie crust. When you need it, just go down, pull it out of the freezer, and you'll have it on hand. I never go for perfection on a pie crust. I always choose to say I go for the rustic look. And if you tell people that it's a rustic pie, they'll think it's supposed to look like that. Another tip that I've found that works is if you just roll, work it a few times and then reflip it, redust it. It's not going to stick on you. Pinch and do whatever you like to make it fancy. Like I say, we go for the very rustic look here, nothing fancy. Todd doesn't like a lot of edge crust like I do, so I get these big thick pieces, and then he goes for the skinny pieces. Alrighty, so we're going to throw this in the oven and we're going to let it bake at 450 for about 8 minutes. Okay, well I figure while I have you guys with me and we're doing live cooking the real way, this is how I always do it. Hey, stop. I need oregano and basil from the garden, fresh. So we're gonna run out there and see. I'm not sure that I have any basil left, but I know I have oregano. But at least you guys will get a quick update on how the garden is doing. You guys haven't seen it in a long time. Not much left to it, but I've done a lot of cleaning out and I can at least give you a sneak peek. So we're almost there. Oh, 30 eggs down the drain. That really stinks. But I am sometimes an emotional eater, so this tomato pie will make it all better. All right, so we're down here. I have these pretty cardinal flowers that are blooming gorgeously right now. Still a little calendula going. My succulents, but I have lots of oregano in here. So I'm gonna get in here and harvest some of that. Gets tricky this time of the year with all the leaves falling. Alrighty. Now in there to check the basil situation. Ooh, my tomatoes must have got a frost. Huh, I don't think we got a frost. That's weird. Okay, anyway, what am I saying? So this bed completely put to sleep for the winter. My tomatoes all gone. I just need to do a covering on those. My cabbage beds are all put to bed. I need to take the covers off, put the greenhouse covers on. That back bed is put to sleep. Still need to harvest my beets. This bed doesn't have quite enough covering on it. But what's still growing are peppers. Of course, they're gonna hang on till the very end. This smorgasbord of cherry tomatoes. The straw bale garden is really broken down well. I'm gonna pull that straw and use it to amend some of my beds for the winter. This one, same thing, pretty much done. Sweet potatoes are still growing strong. I'm gonna let those go till I have a threat of frost and then I'll pull them. But in here, in this mad jungle, is where, let me set you guys down, is where I shall find potentially some basil. Maddening jungle of self-seeded kale. I told you guys it would do that, and it certainly did. Some tomatoes. Is there any basil left? I don't know. I don't see any. Oh, bummer. Yep, this was the basil plant right here. It's done. Yep, no more basil. Oh well. I do have lots dried in the house. I just wanted fresh. What else can I use instead of basil? Not sure. Anyway, I'll give you a peek at the flower gardens while we're out here. They're kind of looking sad, but it's time for me to cut things back for the winter. And so this is this flower garden. Black-eyed Susans are still growing strong. Some roses are still blooming. The lavender is still blooming all the time, doing great. My red morning glories are still blooming. The yarrow is still blooming. But basically it's this marshmallow plant and the calendula that's pretty much done. So I need to get in here and just do a big cleanup. Let me show you this cardinal flower though in a better view. Isn't that cardinal flower? Isn't that great? Just so pretty. So pretty. But it's time we need to head up and check our pie crust. And I'll at least have fresh oregano for the pie. Okay, for the tomato pie, we're gonna be using, it calls for 3/4 cup of mayonnaise. I don't think I quite have that. We'll see. Now I'll probably have like half a cup. So I'm gonna choose to add it, finish it off with a little sour cream. I would think ricotta would be good. And then we're gonna add, what did it say? A good cup, I would say 3/4 cup of mozzarella cheese, our oregano, a tablespoon of fresh oregano. Sorry, get out of my way, dogs.
There's 3 dogs here now. Some of you noticed in the last video that you're like, where's that other dog come from? Did you guys get a new one? It's our son's dog, Nick.
Yeah, we're babysitting. Grand dog sitting for 2 weeks. And I didn't have any basil. Do you have a suggestion on what to use instead of basil? I mean, I got dried basil. We can use that. But...
Yeah, we just use dried.
Okay. Alrighty. I think I do.
This is her. This is Waffles. Are you nervous?
I gotta go down to the basement and get basil.
Okay.
We have a lot of basil. So it called for 1/4 cup, so I'm gonna use about a good helping tablespoon. And then we're gonna mix this together. And then I think what we do, I'll have to look back at the recipe. This one, again, like my first time making this, I think we're gonna layer the tomatoes with this, but I'll double check. So I'm kind of squeezing my tomatoes out just to get some of the extra juice. And I'm gonna put like 1/3 of the tomatoes in the pie crust. And then it said 1/3 of this mixture. And spread it out, but I don't see how that's gonna happen, but we're doing it. Okay, another 1/3. Now you could add onions to this too, but I'm just trying to be fast because it's dinner time and we're just making something quick and simple. Okay, that's gonna be yummy, I think. But I went out and I grabbed some garlic chives and I'm just going to thinly snip those up on top as a garnish. And then we will sprinkle with some salt and pepper and a little coriander. And I think that's gonna be it. All right, we're gonna put this in the oven. Let me tell you how long for. The recipe I'm following is loosely following, because you guys know I don't follow anything directly. We're gonna bake it for 25 minutes, and then when you pull it out of the oven, you wait about 10 minutes before cutting into it. Well, sorry I didn't get to share with you the actual coming out of the oven moment, but it is
It looks like
delicious
pizza.
looking. It does.
It looks like one of those like deep dish
Yeah,
pizzas from that place in Detroit.
right. And Todd just grilled and smoked up some sausages to go with it. Oh, it's a little gooey.
Does it have, what is it, have any egg in it to hold
nothing,
it together?
Nothing. Yeah, just a cheese mixture and fresh tomatoes.
Oh, we need silverware.
All right, so we're doing this live. Does it even hold up? Oh, not bad. Nice. Not bad. Kind of, I guess, gets almost like a ricotta cheese texture inside. See? Pretty good.
That's what I thought you were putting in it when I saw you had the sour cream out.
Yeah.
At first I thought, oh, ricotta cheese, that's going to be good, but
All right, first live taste test. It has been sitting out of the oven for a good 10 minutes, if not more. Different.
different.
It kind of tastes like eating a tomato sandwich with all that mayonnaise.
Really?
Yeah.
It has mayonnaise in it?
Yeah, it called for mayonnaise with the cheese mixture. I don't know that I'd make it very often, but it's a good way to use some of your last fresh tomatoes from the garden.
Is it hot?
Tomatoes are a little hot. It's good flavor.
Yeah, very good. Texture's just a little weird because the
Yeah.
tomatoes kind of just like,
Turn soft.
there's nothing to chew really. It
Right.
just kind of goes away.
All right, well, hey guys, I took you on a whirlwind today in this video. We thought we started out freeze drying eggs. That didn't happen, so we turned my frown upside down through some good old comfort food. You guys got to see a quick little update in the garden. Hey, stop. Anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next video.
It's pretty good. Especially when you get some of the crust.
Yeah, I'll probably be good with some sausage. It's mine.
There's some that are really burnt that you'll probably like. Albie, thank you.